Hey guys, it's me, Ruby Moat. If you haven't been here before, welcome. This is my YouTube channel where I post stuff. If you've been here before, hey bestie, how are you? Subscribe and come back next time and maybe you'll be a bestie. First of all, I apologize if my makeup looks like shit. It's like 4:30 p.m. and I went out and did a bunch of stuff today and my body is really tired. I am very sweaty and so my makeup is still really sweaty and crusty. I tried to fix it up a little bit, but there's only so much I can do. I was really excited about this idea for a YouTube video. I know it's kind of late in October. I was planning on hopefully getting this out earlier in October, but I don't know what I was thinking. I have a job and I'm literally chronically exhausted all the time, so I was really excited about this idea. Hopefully it'll feel nostalgic to some of you guys, because it's gonna be me reading scary stories to tell in the dark and ranking them based on how much they scared me when I was younger versus now. I'm not sure if I've read all of these stories, to be honest. I know I had like 3 of the books in my classroom and I own some of the books too, and I had like my aunt read them to me all the time. I'm kind of excited. I love these books. I feel like this was honestly part of what made me love horror so much as a genre. Like the artwork in this book, like the original artwork is fucking horrifying. It's amazing. Like I remember looking at these photos and I was so scared and unsettled, and it pissed me off when they came out with the new drawings. Like I know it was supposed to be more like kid friendly, but girl, give us the real artwork. I'm sorry, the new artwork sucks and the old artwork is fucking beautiful. And then it was also a movie, if anyone remembered that. I don't think it was that great of a movie, to be honest. I don't remember much about it, which is pretty telling. I would remember it if I liked it, which I don't really remember it, so that's okay. I also don't know how much I'm gonna get through of this one book. Initially wanted to do like a part for each bundle of stories and then read all 3 of the books, but it's October 18th and I planned on filming this like early October and I was like, yeah, I can do it totally. But no, I overestimated what I was able to do. But if you guys like this and you want to see more, even though it's not like Halloween time anymore, I would be more than willing to make some, so let me know in the comments down below. Also let me know what your favorite story is. I'm very excited, and I don't know if I remember all of these stories, so if I can't remember it, I'll be honest and just be like, this is how scary I think it is. But the first one is called Something Was Wrong. This is the artwork for it. Beautiful, very spooky. One morning, John Sullivan found himself walking along a street downtown. He could not explain what he was doing there, or how he had got there, or where he had been earlier. He didn't even know what time it was. He saw a woman walking toward him and stopped her. "I'm afraid I forgot my watch," he said, and smiled. "Can you tell me the time?" Sorry. When she saw him, she screamed and ran. Then John Sullivan noticed that other people were afraid of him. When they saw him coming, they flattened themselves against a building or ran across the street to stay out of his way. There must be something wrong with me, John Sullivan thought. I better go home. He hailed a taxi, but the driver took one look at him and sped away. John Sullivan did not understand what was going on, and it scared him. Maybe somebody at home can come and get me, he thought. He found a telephone and called his wife, but a voice he did not recognize answered. "Is Mrs. Sullivan there?" he asked. "No, she's at a funeral," the voice said. "Mr. Sullivan was killed yesterday in an accident downtown." That's the end of the first story. I think I do remember that one, and I think that one was like, feels a little groundbreaking, you know? Like, you're dead the whole time? That would freak me out. I also, this is really stupid, I think this is OCD related, but I will convince myself sometimes that like, what if I am dead and like, I don't know? So that one is honestly kind of a fear for me. I should do maybe 1 out of 10 stars, 10 being the scariest. I would say, as far as like, unsettling, maybe like a 4. Like, I think it's a scary concept, like not knowing you're dead, and I think it was written in a good way. Like, it was very like eerie. The next one is called The Wreck. Do I remember this one? I don't think I remember this one. Fred and Jean went to the same high school, but they met for the first time at the Christmas dance. Fred had come by himself, and so had Jean. Soon, Fred decided that Jean was one of the nicest girls he had ever met. They danced together most of the evening. At 11 o'clock, Jean said, "I have to leave now. Can you give me a ride?" "Sure," he said. "I've got to go home too." "I accidentally drove my car into a tree on my way over here," Jean says. "I guess I wasn't paying attention." Girl, what? Fred drove her to the head of Brady Road. It was in a neighborhood he didn't know very well. "Why don't you drop me off here?" Jean said. "The road up ahead is in really bad condition. I can walk from here." Fred stopped the car and held out some tinsel. "Have some," he said. "I got it at the dance." Okay, weird. "Thank you," she said. "I'll put it in my hair," and she did. "Would you like to go out sometime to a movie or something?" Fred asked. "That would be fun," Jean said. After Fred drove off, he realized that he didn't know Jean's last name or her telephone number. "I'll go back," he thought. "The road can't be that bad." He drove slowly down Brady Road through a thick woods, but there wasn't a sign of Jean. As he came around a curve, he saw a wreckage of a car ahead. It had crashed into a tree and had caught fire. Smoke was still rising from it. As Fred made his way to the car, he could see someone trapped inside, crushed against the steering column. It was Jean. In her hair was the Christmas tinsel he had given her. That's another surprise. Someone's dead. That was also the image for it. That one, a little more tragic, I guess, because you were like, wow, I met this girl, she's so slay, and then she was dead the whole time. I'd say about the same for, like, I don't know. And I think this one's all specifically, like, ghost stories. This one is? I don't know. There are some that aren't ghost stories. Did I show you the drawing? This is the artwork for this one. It's called One Sunday Morning. Ida always went to the 7 o'clock Sunday morning service at her church. Usually she heard the clanging of the church bells while she was eating breakfast, but this morning she heard them while she was still in bed. That means I'm late, she thought. Ida jumped out of bed, quickly dressed, and left without eating or looking at the clock. It was still dark outside, but it usually was dark at this time of year. Ida was the only one on the street. The only sounds she heard were the clatter of her shoes on the pavement. Everybody must already be in church, she thought. Ida took a shortcut through the cemetery. Then she quietly slipped into church and found a seat. The service had already begun. When she caught her breath, Ida looked around. The church was filled with people she had never seen before, but the woman next to her did look familiar. Ida smiled at her. It's Josephine Kerr, she thought. But she's dead. She died a month ago. Suddenly, Ida felt uneasy. She looked around again as her eyes began to adjust to the dim light. Ida saw some skeletons in suits and dresses. This is a service for the dead, Ida thought. Everyone here is dead except for me. Ida noticed that some of them were staring at her. They looked angry, as if she had no business here. Josephine leaned toward her and whispered, "Leave right after the benediction, if you care for your life." When the service came to an end, the minister gave his blessing. "The Lord bless you and keep you," he said. "The Lord make his face to shine upon you." Ida grabbed her coat and walked quickly toward the door when she heard footsteps behind her. She glanced back. Several of the dead were coming toward her. Others were getting up to join them. "The Lord lift up his countenance to you," the minister went on. Ida was so frightened she began to run. Bitch, me too. Out the door she ran with a pack of shrieking ghosts at her heels. "Get out," one of them screamed. Another shouted, "You don't belong here," and ripped her coat away. As Ida ran through the cemetery, a third grabbed the hat from her head. "Don't come back," it screamed, and shook its arm at her. By the time Ida reached the street, the sun was rising, and the dead had disappeared. Did this really happen? Ida asked herself. Or have I been dreaming? That afternoon, one of Ida's friends brought over her coat and hat, or what was left of them. They had been found in the cemetery, torn to shreds. That one doesn't spook me at all, to be honest. I don't know. Not very spooky. Not very spooky at all. Maybe I'm just a fucking loser, but ghost stories don't really get me anymore. Like, I don't know. And sorry if I'm bad at looking into the freaking lens. And I'm also sorry if I'm a shitty storyteller, okay? I just wanted to read some nostalgic stories and enjoy my life. Okay, this is the next one. It's called Sounds. These ones I'm not really familiar with, to be honest. I feel like this is the more scary stories to tell in the dark. I tried getting the first one, but there are more. Oh, this is the second one, I think. I accidentally got the second one. That's okay. The house was near the beach. It was a big old place where nobody had lived for years. From time to time, somebody would force open a window or a door and spend the night there, but never longer. 3 fishermen caught in a storm took shelter there one night. With some dry wood they found inside, they made a fire in the fireplace. They lay down on the floor and tried to get some sleep, but none of them slept that night. First, they heard footsteps upstairs. It sounded like there were several people moving back and forth. When one of the fishermen called, "Who's up there?" the footsteps stopped. Then they heard a woman scream. Bitch, I would be out. I would be gone so fast. The scream turned into a groan and died away. Blood began to drip from the ceiling into the room where the fishermen huddled. A small red pool formed on the floor and soaked into the wood. A door upstairs crashed shut, and again the woman screamed. "Not me," she cried. "Cats keep freaking me out. Maybe I am freaked out." It sounded as if she was running, her high heels tapping wildly down the hall. "I'll get you," a man shouted, and the floor shook as he chased her. Then silence. There wasn't a sound until the man who had shouted began to laugh. What? What gremlin? Long peals of horrible laughter filled the house. It went on until the fishermen thought they would go mad. When finally it stopped, the fishermen heard someone coming down the stairs dragging something heavy that bumped on each step. They heard him drag it through the front hall and out the front door. The door opened, then it slammed shut. Again, silence. Suddenly a flash of lightning filled the house with a green blaze of light. A ghostly face stared at the fishermen from the hallway. Then came a crash of thunder. Terrified, they ran out into the storm. That one I do think is kind of spooky, because, like, first of all, you're in, like, Like, I would be scared more so of real people, like, being in the house than I would be scared of ghosts. So I think I would be shitting and pissing my pants, and I would have left a hell of a lot longer. No thank you. No thank you. That one, I'll do a 5.5. I'll give that one a 5.5. I am sorry. This is my first time doing a video like this, so if it's a little crunchy, a little crusty, I apologize. The next one is called A Weird Blue Light, and this is what it looks like. Late one night in October 1864, a Confederate blockade runner slipped by the Union gunboats at the entrance to Galveston Bay in Texas and made it safely to port with its cargo of food and other necessities. Louis Billings, the master of the small vessel, was getting ready to weigh anchor when he was startled by a shriek from one of the crew. A strange, old-fashioned schooner with a big black flag was rushing down at us, Billings said later. She was afire with a sort of weird, pale blue light that lighted up every nook and cranny of her. The crew was pulling at the ropes and doing other work, and they paid us no attention, didn't even glance our way. They all had ghastly, bleeding wounds, but their faces and eyes were those of dead men. The man who had shrieked had fallen to his knees, his teeth chattering as he gasped out a prayer. Overcoming my own terror that was chilling the very marrow of my bones, I rushed forward, shouting to the others as I ran. Suddenly the schooner vanished before my eyes. Some say that it was the ghost of Jean Lafayette's pirate ship Pride that sank off Galveston Island in 1821 or 1822. She was seen again in 1892 in the same waters with the same crew. Not scary. I don't know. I'm not really afraid of, like, ghost ship stories, which I don't know why I'm not. I guess I just haven't really been on a boat like that to be scared of it. Does that make sense? I don't know about that story. I just, like, ghost ships don't really freak me out. I don't know. I never was scared by ghost ships, and I don't know why. So honestly, probably a 2 out of 10. Not scary. God damn it, is this another goddamn boat? It's another goddamn boat story. This one is called Somebody Fell from Aloft. I had signed on as an ordinary seaman on the Falls of Ettrick, a merchant ship bound for England. The first time I saw that ship, I knew her right away. Also, why do we always call boats her? Like, why? Why can't it be a boy? Why can't the boat be a boy? She was the old Gertrude Spurshoe. I had sailed on her years before when she was painted brown and gold. Now she was painted black and had a new name, but it was the same ship for sure. We had a pretty good crew for that voyage, except for one hard-looking ticket named McLaren. He was a pretty good seaman. I'm 12 years old, but there was something about him that I didn't trust. He was kind of secretive, kept mostly to himself, same bitch. One day, somebody told him that I had worked on the old Gertrude. For some reason, he got all a tremble over that. Then I catched him giving me all these ugly black looks, as if he was itching to knife me in the back. What? How do you know if someone's gonna, like, if someone's looking at you as if they're ready to stab you in the back? What does that look like? What does that look like? Anyways, well, this one day, we was trying to work our way through a drippin' black fog. You'd scarcely know we had all the lights on, and it was dead calm. There wasn't a breath of fresh air. The ship just lay there, wallowing in a rollin' and a rollin', going nowhere. I was standing my watch around midships, and McLaren was doing his trick at the wheel. The rest of the crew was scattered around one place and another. It was as quiet as could be. Then, all at once, wacko! This thing hits the deck right in front of McLaren. He lets go a screech that turns my blood cold and he falls down in a faint. The second mate starts yelling that somebody had fallen from aloft. Laying out there just forward of the wheel was someone or something dressed in oilskins with blood oozing out from underneath. Okay. The captain ran and fetched the big light from the cabin so he could see who it was. They kind of straightened him out to get a good look at his face. He was a big, ugly-looking devil, but nobody knew who he was or what he was doing up there. At least, nobody was saying. When McLaren came to from his faint, they tried to get something out of him. All he did was jabber away and keep rolling those big, wild-looking eyes of his. Everybody was getting more and more excited. Why? Why excited? I don't know why this would excite someone. We all wanted to heave the body overboard as quick as we could. There was something weird about it, as if it wasn't real. But the captain wasn't sure about getting rid of it that way. Could it be a stowaway, he asked? But the ship was filled with lumber we were carrying. There was no space where a living thing could hide for 3 weeks, which is how long we had been out. Even if it was a stowaway, what was it doing aloft on such a dirty day? Oh my god, this really does not stop ending. This is a long story. This is a long one. There was no reason for anyone to be up there. There was nothing to see. Finally, the captain gave up. Can you stop? Finally, the captain gave up and told us to heave him overboard. Then nobody would touch him. The mate ordered us to pick him up, but nobody made a move. Then he tried coaxing, but that didn't do any good. Suddenly, that loony McLaren starts yelling, "I handled him once, and I can handle him again." He picks up the body and staggers over to the railing with it. He is just about to throw it overboard when it wraps its two long arms around him, and over they go together. Then on the way down, one of them starts laughing in a horrible way. The mates are yelling to launch a boat, but nobody would get into a boat, not on a night like that. We threw a couple of life preservers after them, but everybody knew they wouldn't help. So that was that. Or was it? The first chance I had to go home after that, I went right over to see old Captain Spurshoe, who was captain when Gertrude was around. Well, he says, one trip, these two outlandish men shipped aboard the Gertrude. One was McLaren, the other was a really big fella. The big one always picking on McLaren and thumping him around. And McLaren was always talking about how he would get back at him. Well, this wet, dirty night, the two of them was up there alone, and the big one come flying down, killed himself, deader than herring. Oh no, it's still going, There's an image. McLaren says the foot rope they were using parted and how he almost fell himself, but everybody who saw that rope knew she wouldn't give away on her own. She had been cut through with a knife. After that, whenever we come to port, McLaren thought we were going to get police after him, and he'd get pretty scared, but we couldn't prove anything, so we couldn't try. In the end, I guess the big fella took care of things in his own way. If he was a ghost that came back, that's what he was. If there be things like ghosts. Ooh, another ghost ship story. I'm sorry, not scared of ghost ships. I just think about fucking SpongeBob, okay? I just think about SpongeBob and I can't take that seriously to be scared of a ghost ship. Unless I would be down to go to the Queen Mary, though. And then maybe that would be a little freaky, but like, that's a different kind of ship. Maybe I'm not scared of it because I don't foresee myself ever going on a ship to be scared. I don't know. Again, probably like a 4 out of 10. I liked that it was like, oh, he came back to take vengeance or whatever. That was cool, but not really scary to me. The next one is the little black dog. This story does include animal abuse and death, so please skip this story if you don't want to listen to that because it's weird and I don't like it. Look at that dog. Look at that dog. And I like it because I like that there's a dog in it, and I got that dog in me, what can I say? Billy Mansfield said that a little black dog followed him wherever he went, but he was the only one who saw it. Honestly, even if... Okay, wait. So people thought he was kind of crazy. To drive the dog away, Billy was always hollering at it, throwing rocks at it, but the dog always came back. Girl, okay. I was gonna say I would like a little dog, even if it was a little ghost dog that no one else could see. If a little dog followed me everywhere, girl, I would be so happy. I would feel so blessed, even if it was a ghost. And I would never throw rocks at it, by the way, in case you're a little ghost dog that wants to follow someone without getting rocks thrown at them. Me, please. The first time Billy saw the dog was the day he fought Silas Burton. Billy was just a young man then, but the Burtons and Billy's family had been feuding for years. Ooh, we got some interfamilial trauma. When Billy saw Silas riding toward him, he went for his gun, and Burton went for his, but Billy fired first. He hit Burton in the back, knocking him from his horse. Burton's horse ran off, and his gun fell where he couldn't reach it. He lay there on the ground, pleading with Billy not to kill him, but Billy killed him anyways. Burton's little black dog was with him when he was shot. The dog kept licking Burton's face and barking and snarling at Billy. In his anger... No! He killed the dog, too! I don't fucking like Billy. Billy sounds like a bitch and does not deserve a cute little dog following him around. There wasn't much law enforcement in those days, so Billy wasn't arrested, but all that night he heard Burton's dog outside his cabin scratching on his door and barking to be let in. I'm imagining this, Billy said to himself. I shot that dog. It's dead. No! Terrible! For the next morning, Billy saw the dog. It was waiting for him outside. From then on, there was not a day when he didn't see it, and there wasn't a night when he didn't hear it scratching on his door, barking to be let in. Honestly, he deserves that. Like, he deserves the being constantly woken up at night because the dog's fucking scratching at your door. That's the least you deserve. And the house in the yard stank of dog. Whenever somebody told him there wasn't any dog to see, he'd say, maybe you don't see it, but I do, and I'm not any crazier than you are. Yeah, you are. You killed a dog. That's pretty fucking crazy, in my opinion. Things went on like that for many years. Then one morning in the middle of the winter, the neighbors didn't see any smoke coming out of Billy's chimney. When they went over to check, Billy wasn't there. A day or so later, they found his body lying in the snow in a field back of his cabin. Billy had plenty of enemies, and at first it seemed like somebody might have killed him, but there wasn't a mark on his body, and there weren't any footprints out there except for Billy's. The doctor said Billy probably died of old age, but there was something odd about his death. When his neighbors found Billy, there were black dog hairs on his clothes. There were even a few on his face. It smelled like a dog had been out there, yet no one had seen a dog anywhere. This one is terrifying story. 10 out of 10, because I don't like killing dogs, quite frankly. I don't like murdering dogs. So I'm sorry, but that one is scary because dog murdering is scary and weird. I hope the ghost dog killed him because he deserved it. The next one I think I remember because this one sounds really familiar. The name Clinkety Clink is what it's called, and it's turning the gears in my brain. An old lady got sick and died. Wow, what a beautiful way to start that story. She had no family and no close friends, so the neighbors got a gravedigger to dig a grave for her, and they had a coffin made and they placed it in her living room, as was the tradition. They washed her body and dressed her up in her best clothes and put her in the coffin. Okay, those are some sweet neighbors, because that's sweet to do. Props to them. When she died, her eyes were wide open, staring at everything and seeing nothing. The neighbors found 2 old silver dollars on her dresser, and they put them on her eyelids to keep them closed. They lit candles and sat up with her so that she would not be too lonely on that first night that she was dead. The next morning, a preacher came and said a prayer for her. Then everybody went home. Later, the gravedigger arrived to take her to the cemetery and bury her. He stared at the silver dollars on her eyes, and he picked them up. How shiny and smooth they were. How thick and heavy. Is he gonna fuck the quarters? Is he gonna fuck the coins? They're beautiful, he thought. Just beautiful. He looked at the dead woman with her eyes wide open. He felt she was staring at him, watching him hold her coins. It gave him a creepy feeling. He put the coins back on those eyes of hers to keep them closed. Right before he knew it, his hands reached out again and grabbed the coins and stuck them in his pocket. Good God, they're 2 fucking coins, dude. Jesus Christ. Then he grabbed a hammer and quickly nailed shut the lid on the coffin. Girl, I don't know, taking things from dead people, this scares me because I don't think you should take shit from dead people. First of all, because it's not, like, cool. But also, second of all, if someone came and stole my ghostly things that I wanted to be buried with, I'm coming back for them. Now you can't see anything, he said to her. Then he took her out to the cemetery and buried her as fast as he could. When the gravedigger got home, he put the 2 silver dollars in a tin box and shook it. The coins made a cheerful rattling sound, but the gravedigger wasn't feeling cheerful. He couldn't forget those eyes looking at him. Then why did you take the goddamn coins? When it got dark, a storm came up and the wind started blowing. It blew all around the house. It came in through the cracks and around the windows and down the chimney. Bazoo! It went. I'm sorry, I don't know how to make these noises. I'm not a reader. I'm not good at storytelling with noises and things. Bazoo! Bazoo! The fire flared and flickered. The gravedigger threw some fresh wood on the fire, got into bed, and pulled the blankets up to his chin. The wind kept blowing. Bazoo! It went. Bazoo! Bazoo! I'm embarrassing myself. The fire flared and flickered and cast evil-looking shadows on the walls. The gravedigger lay there, thinking about the dead woman's eyes staring at him. Again, why did you do it then? The wind blew stronger and louder, and the fire flared and flickered and popped and snapped, and he got more and more scared. Suddenly, he heard another sound. Clinkety-clink, clinkety-clink it went. Clinkety-clink. Clinkety clink. It was the silver dollars rattling in the tin box. Hey, the gravedigger shouted. Who's taking my money? But all he heard was the wind blowing. Busy, bazoo. And the flames flaring and flickering and snapping and popping and the coins going clinkety clack, clinkety clack. He leaped out of bed and chained up the door. Then he hurried back. But his head had barely touched the pillow when he heard clinkety clink, clinkety clink. Then he heard something way off in the distance. It was a voice crying, "Where is my money? Who's got my money?" And the wind blew. I'm not fucking making the wind blowing noise again, I'm sorry. And the fire flared and flickered and snapped and popped, and the money went clinkety clink. The gravedigger was really scared. Good. He got out of bed again and piled all the furniture against the door, and he put a heavy iron skillet over the tin box. Then he jumped back into bed and covered his head with the blankets. But the money rattled louder than ever, and way off, a voice cried, "Give me my money! Who's got my money? Ooh!" Ooh. And the wind blew, and the fire flared and flickered and snapped and popped, and the gravedigger shivered and shook and cried, "Oh lordy, lordy!" Suddenly, the front door flew open, and in walked the ghost of the dead woman with her eyes wide open, staring at everything and seeing nothing. And the wind blew, and the money went clinkety-clink, and the fire had flared and flickered and snapped and popped, and the ghost of the dead woman cried, "Where's my money? Who's got my money?" And the gravedigger moaned, "Oh lordy, lordy!" The ghost could hear her money going clinkety-clink in the tin box, but her dead eyes couldn't see the box, so she reached out with her arms and tried to find it. As you tell a story, stand up with your arms in front of you and begin groping around you. I don't want to do that. Stand up with my arms in front of me and begin groping. The wind went bzzee, and the money rattled clinkety-clink, and the fire flared and flickered and snapped and popped, and the gravedigger shivered and shook and moaned, "Oh lordy, lordy!" The woman cried, "Give me my money! Who's got my money? Who?" Now jump at someone in the audience and scream, "Ah, you got it!" Did I scare you? Was that 10 out of 10 terrifying because I did a jump scare? This is the artwork, by the way, which is fucking Gorgiana. Love that artwork. Very spooky, very freaky. And I hope that my acting really scared you and you had a jump scare. This one, okay, this one isn't scary to me because of the fact that I would not do this. Like, I would not steal someone's things, dead or alive. So, like, not scary to me because I wouldn't do it and I wouldn't find myself in this situation. But if I did steal someone's shit and this happened, I'll give it a 6. I'll give it a 6 for that. The next one is the bride. This is what it looks like. The minister's daughter had just gotten married. After the wedding ceremony, there was a great feast with music and dancing and contests and games, even old children's games. When they got to playing hide and seek, the bride decided to hide in her grandfather's trunk up in the attic. "They'll never find me here," she thought. As she was climbing into the trunk, the lid came down and cracked her on the head, and she felt unconscious inside. The lid slammed shut and locked. No one will ever know how long she called for help or how hard she struggled to free herself from that tomb. Everyone in the village searched for her, and they looked almost everywhere, but no one thought of looking in the trunk. After a week, her brand new bridegroom and all others gave her up for lost. Years later, a maid went up into the attic looking for something she needed. Maybe it's in the trunk, she thought. She opened it and screamed. There lay the missing bride in her wedding dress. But by then, she was only a skeleton. That one is freaky because, like, I don't know, like, what if that happened to me? What if I got fucking stuck in a trunk and I just died there? Like, that's pretty fucked. A 7, because I would be scared of something like that happening to me, and I feel like that would be very traumatic, and I wouldn't, no, that sucks. That's just a shitty situation. Okay, the next one is rings on her fingers. Here's that one. Daisy Clark had been in a coma for more than a month when the doctor said that she had finally died. She was buried on a cool summer day in a small cemetery about a mile from her home. "May she always rest in such peace," her husband said. But she didn't. Late that night, a grave robber with his shovel and lantern began to dig her up. Fuck this! Since the ground was still soft, he quickly reached the coffin and got it open. His hunch was right. Daisy had been buried wearing 2 valuable rings, a wedding ring with a diamond in it, and a ring with a ruby, that's me, that glowed as if it were alive. Ooh. Okay, again, I don't fuck with stealing things from people, even if they're dead. The thief got down on his knees and reached into the coffin to get the rings, but they were stuck fast on her fingers. So he decided the only way to get them was to cut her fingers off with a knife. Okay, I do remember reading this one when I was younger. But when he cut into the finger with the wedding ring, it began to bleed, and Daisy Clark began to stir. Suddenly, she sat up. Terrified, the thief scrambled to his feet. He accidentally kicked over the lantern and the light went out. He could hear Daisy climb out of her grave as she moved past him in the dark. He stood there frozen with fear, clutching the knife in his hand. When Daisy saw him, she pulled her shroud around her and asked, "Who are you?" When the grave robber heard this corpse speak, he ran. Daisy shrugged her shoulders and walked on and never once looked back. But in his fear and confusion, the thief fled in the wrong direction. He pitched headlong into her grave, fell on the knife, and stabbed himself. While Daisy walked home, the thief bled to death. That one, okay, that's a little insane, because first of all, how far did he get on cutting her fingers off and she's just gonna, like, walk home? And also scary that he fell into the grave and then stabbed himself. I'll give that a 7 as well, because that's a little unsettling. Too many unsettling things were happening there. I think I might actually pause there and try to film another part, just because I'm a little YouTuber and it's hard to find ideas sometimes on what I'm able to do because I'm not able to do anything too crazy right now just because I'm busy and life is busy. So maybe I'll just end it there. And I don't know how I'm gonna edit this video, so I think that's also another reason I want to end here so I can watch it back and kind of like see what I think I could improve on and do better for my next video. So if you have any, sound off. But otherwise, if you guys haven't subscribed yet, you should, because I'm just a little YouTuber and I'm just trying to live my little YouTuber life. And I think you should subscribe to me because I'm a really cool guy. And also like the video and comment what your favorite story was and what your least favorite story was. Like, what was the most scary story to you? What one unsettled you the most? And did you also read these when you were in like grade school? Because I was like fucking 6 years old reading this shit and I loved it. But anyways, thank you guys again for watching. I don't know what else I was gonna say. Thanks for being here. I never know how to end a goddamn video.